I believe that there are three components and facets that are going to help you connect with yourself. The first one is self-reflection, the second one is self-compassion, and the third one is setting your boundaries. What does it mean to connect with yourself, right? What does it mean to have self-reflection, right? I think there are three ways that you can have self-reflection. The first one is to first understand yourself. And what does that mean? It means asking yourself questions like, does this align with my spirit? Does this make me feel good? Do I like this? Am I disgusted by this? How do I feel around this thing, right? And when you get to the level of where you say, I like this, or I don't like this, or I'm in alignment with this, or I'm not in alignment with this, there's another layer to it, right? There's a thing in psychology called the 5 W's or the 5 whys. And when you ask yourself this level of why, what it does is it puts you in a place where you almost, if not certainly, get to the root of the problem or the root of a reason. So if you're asking yourself, let's say I like ice cream. Just throw it out there. I like ice cream. Why? Answer that. Then when you get to the why for that, right? When you get to the answer, why again? That's 2 whys. Answer that. Ask yourself why again for the third one. Answer that. And keep doing that until you get to 5 whys. When you do this, you don't just get a surface level answer. You actually get a more in-depth reasoning to why you like or dislike a certain thing, why you're in favor of something or why you're not in favor of something. So what the beautiful thing about this 5 whys is, it's a way, it's a tool, it's a skill that you can utilize. It's gonna help you dive deeper into understanding the reason behind your attitude towards something. Make sense? Cool. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with that or disagree. And the second thing I think is gonna help you with self-reflection is understanding or identifying your patterns, right? When you ask yourself these questions like why this, why that, I like this, I like that, and you begin to understand yourself, you also begin to understand your triggers, your habits, and your rewards or disciplines. That's called the habit loop. There's always something that is like a button. Boop, you press the button and it sets off a chain reaction. That's called the trigger. Every habit that we have in our lives is triggered by a trigger. Every habit we have is triggered by a trigger. And so when you want to understand or unpack why you do something, ask yourself, what prompted you to go do it? So now we're just asking ourselves why we do something, asking us what led to that? What environment were we in? Who was around us? What made us feel that way? Why did we feel that way? What were we thinking? Why did we think that, right? When we ask ourselves these things and these different variations of questioning, and we really reflect and take time to understand and identify the patterns, we begin to have a more focused and in-depth understanding of ourselves, a more focused and in-depth understanding of our desires, our wants, our dislikes, our triggers, our habits, and our rewards or disciplines. And when we're able to identify our patterns, we're able to rewire them, we're able to shift them, we're able to change them. So if I don't understand something, if I'm not aware of something, can I truly change it? Like if I'm not aware that I'm out of shape, am I gonna go to the gym and take care of my body? But if I'm aware that I'm out of shape, I'm gonna go do something, right? Because when I receive feedback, that's the place where you need it. That's when you have feedback, it's a form of you being able to change yourself, right? You can't change unless you get feedback, and feedback is just information. So unless you inform, wait a minute, 10 pounds over my weight limit. What? Oh no, something's off. I gotta do something. If that's a value to you, and when you don't value something, you don't change it. Even if you understand the pattern, you don't change it. So it's key to understand what your wants and needs are, and what your unwants and unneeds are. I know those aren't words, and it's key to understand those things first, and then to identify your patterns. And when you do both of those two things, right? Both of those two things, what you do is you allow yourself to have improved, enhanced communication. There's a quote that goes, you can only understand someone else as far as you come to understand yourself. So I can only know you as far as I come to know me. And if I don't know me, guess what? I don't know you. Now, people go like, well, that's not true. You can always know someone else better. I get that. That's cool. There's always an anomaly or, little small instances. But those truly don't encapture everything, right? Because there's a person out there who says, I know you. I know everything about you. But they don't. They might have memorized some things about you, They might have understood some things about you to an extent, but only as far as they know themselves. Right? Think about this. If I know that my desires are to take care of my body, right? I desire to take care of my body. Why? Because I want to be able to lift my grandkids up when I'm 80 years old. Okay? If I don't tell people, if I don't understand that for myself, I don't identify that pattern for myself, that I was out of shape and I wasn't taking care of myself, and I didn't understand the value I had was to be in shape and to take care of myself, I would not have changed. I would not have taken care of my body in that sense. I would have let myself go. I would have eat whatever. I would probably die early, maybe off of like whatever foods I ate or, disease I contracted based off the foods I ate. And so here's the thing. I was able to recognize how I feel, what I want and I don't want, identify the pattern I was having and able to shift that. And then I was able to communicate on that pattern and that trigger and that belief in myself, right? And now I'm able to have that conversation with you. Think about if I was trying to just tell you how I felt about this and I didn't know that I wanted to work out so that I could lift my grandkid up at 80 years old. I took the time to reflect, I took the time to identify, and I took the time to communicate because I want you to understand that you can do this too. And I think those three things help us build our self-reflection capacity. So again, it comes down to understanding yourself, identifying patterns, and improving communication. When you do that, you're able to have a better level of self-reflection. The next thing that I feel is useful in connection with ourselves is self-compassion. Having self-compassion truly allows you to build confidence, handle challenges, and encourage growth. What do I mean by that? All right, so let's take a step back. When you're having self-compassion, you're having positive self-talk. When you talk to yourself positively, you're increasing the way that you speak to yourself because you respect yourself more, right? And if you don't respect yourself now, you're gonna have more respect for yourself because of the way you're speaking to yourself. So it's very important that you be mindful of the conversations that happen here because it's more important what you say to you than it does what others say to you. So with that being said, when you make mistakes, have compassion for yourself. You give grace to this person and that person when they do something wrong, and you give them second and third chances. Why don't you do that to yourself? How are you going to show up for yourself more? How are you going to give yourself grace more? Good. Because you need to do that. You deserve it. You're willing. If you're willing to give it to everyone else, you should be willing to give it to yourself too. That same level, if not more, because you're with you 24/7. Who's going to be nicer to you than you? Right? The world's already going to beat you up. The world's already going to tell you all the things you made a mistake on. There was a video of a teacher going 9 times 1 equals 9. 9 times 2 equals 18. And he went all the way down until he got to 9 times 9 equals 81. And he changed the answer from 81 to 79 for that one. He got all the first 9 questions, 9 times 0, all the first 9 ones correct. Right? 9 times 0 all the way down to 9 times 8. He got all those numbers correct. All these equations correct. Then he got to 9 times 9, he put 79. And everyone pointed at the fact that he made a mistake. And he said, you know what? That's life. You're going to make all of these things correct. And people are going to point out to you the one thing you make a mistake on. So I ask you that you feed yourself positive thoughts, positive words, positive emotions, positive feelings. Because when you do this, you uplift your spirit, you uplift your mindset, you uplift your attitude, you uplift your being. You deserve it more than you realize. Think about this. If we have a higher level of confidence, wouldn't we have a better mindset or a better mental place to solve problems? Wouldn't it be easier to deal with stress? Wouldn't it be easier to deal with challenges? Wouldn't it be much more efficient to deal with things in a positive mindset than in a negative mindset? So if you're compassionate with yourself and you're giving yourself positive emotions to have yourself have positive thoughts, to have yourself have positive attitude, and you have a positive attitude, gives you that level of confidence so that when you face challenges, you're not overwhelmed by them. You're not afraid of them. You're not running from them. In fact, you're embracing them. You're facing them head on. You're telling yourself, hey, it's not a biggie. It's a problem that needs to be solved. And we can do that. That's not a problem. Right? So when you have that level of thinking and that level of feeling, guess what? It changes the actions that you take. And if you change the actions you take to align with the thoughts and emotions you have, wouldn't that be the most beneficial thing to operate in the most efficient manner? And if the most efficient manner is the one that helps you do things more easily, then wouldn't you want to be in a better state of mind all the time to get it done like that? I would. Now, we talked about how it's going to help you build confidence. It's going to help you build the capacity to handle challenges. And if you're able to handle challenges and you have confidence when you're handling challenges because you're giving yourself self-compassion, what else will it lead to? If I'm handling challenges with confidence because I'm talking to myself kindly and I'm speaking to myself better and I'm taking care of myself much more efficiently, I'm being compassionate with my thoughts, my emotions, my needs, my desires, my wants, everything. If I'm being compassionate with myself and I'm able to face challenges and solve them with confidence, that's just going to lead to more opportunities. And more opportunities means more growth. Let's be honest right now, okay? Let's be real. You know you can do so much more. You know you're capable of so much more. You know there's so much infinite potential within you. You know you're capable of all the things you dream of and that you really, really have that power. However, you're not tapping into it. You're not going after it. And there's something holding you back. There's something limiting you. I'm gonna be real with you. It's not everyone else you keep pointing your fingers at. It's not everyone else or every situation at work or everything at home. It's not those things. It's you, right? And I do believe when you have a mindset shift and a habit shift, you have a life shift. And if you want to change your life, tap in with me. For the past decade, I've been studying the leading experts in personal development techniques, specifically in mindset and habit shifts, right? And I do believe that when you change your mindset and you add different habits to your life literally changes. And you may not believe me right now, and that's fine. But you're gonna see from this day forward, I've planted the seed in your mind. And you're gonna see other people changing their habits because they changed their mindset. And you're gonna see their lives change drastically. If you want that to be you, I've developed my own mindset course and my own personal development technique ebook based on all the findings and research I've found over the past decade. So if you want to change your life, if you really need to change your mindset and change your habits, it's going to transform your life. Click on the link below or go to hvthelifecoach.com. Again, that's hvthelifecoach.com. Right? That means expansion. That means this little area I was once fulfilling is now in need of more fulfillment. So it's expanded. And once I fulfill this area, it grows even further and further. So the more confident I am, the more I'm able to handle challenges. The more I'm able to handle challenges, the more I grow. And the only way to do these things is to be compassionate with myself, because this helps me connect with myself. And last but not least, setting boundaries is last but not least. When we think about setting boundaries, a lot of times we could be around people that are manipulative. I was around someone very manipulative. And when I would want to set a boundary, they would throw something else in my face. Well, you did this, you did that. And it's like, damn, bro. I had to feel that pain for a long time. And I had to learn that it's not for them that I'm setting the boundary, it's for me. And if that relationship is to coexist properly in an uplifting manner, they need to respect that. The same way I need to respect their boundaries, right? So how do we set boundaries? When we set boundaries, we're really saying that we respect ourselves. We're really saying we respect our needs, we respect our wants. So when someone else doesn't respect our boundaries, it means they don't respect us. And when we allow them to not respect our boundaries, it means we allow them to not respect us as well. And I don't know about you, but I don't like being disrespectful to myself, nor by others. So, I like to set boundaries. Now, sometimes we can't always enforce boundaries because we don't know the proper wording behind them. So I ask that you look at what a boundary is, right? And look up how to set it. I say this because when we set boundaries, it can help us maintain balance. When we have a job, there's a certain hierarchy, I don't know how you say the word. I don't know how you say the word, but I say hierarchy. There's a certain level of ranking. And when we are at work, if we don't respect that ranking, that boundary, things can go left real quick. HR can be on the phone and the email real quick. So we respect those boundaries. It's the same thing with our lives though. At home, our parents raise us and they tell us, hey, you can't do X, Y, and Z. And if you do X, Y, and Z, you're gonna get 1, 2, and 3. We learn to respect X, Y, and Z because we don't want to receive 1, 2, 3. And if we don't respect X, Y, and Z, what are we gonna get? A healthy dose of 1, 2, 3. And when we have teachers, when we have coaches, when we have places that foster growth, they have that same level of boundary. Someone's saying, hey, this is what it is, and we have to follow it. And if we don't follow it, guess what happens? is a discipline or a reward. And when we don't do that with ourselves, we have to hold ourselves to the same level of accountability, because no one else is going to do it for us. It's a self-set boundary. And again, if someone else is not respecting that, that means they don't respect us. And they're not recognizing that balance for my boundary, because I'm going to respect theirs. They're not respecting your boundary, even if you are respecting theirs. So if you want to make sure that that boundary is respected, sometimes you have to create separation. You have to create separation, create distance. It's one of the 48 laws of power, distance. There is a level of respect that is garnered when you are not around all the time. Think about the friend that's always around you. And think about the person that's keeping the distance and you have a lot of admiration for. Think about it. You have more respect for people that keep the distance from you. Typically, when you're not aware of the value that people have in your life, you typically just admire people that have distance. If I'm around you all the time, I'm liable to have more leniency with you. And you are with me. That makes sense, right? Because we're around each other all the time. Right? You're more willing to allow your brother or sister to do something than you are, let's say, a friend. And you're more willing to allow a friend to do something than you are, let's say, a stranger. And you're probably more willing to allow, a partner, significant other to do things more so than somebody you're just dating for the first time. See, when we're around people, we get comfortable, we get complacent. And when we don't set boundaries, we just allow ourselves to be walked all over. That's not fun. So why do that to ourselves? From the very beginning of any relationship, we need to set the understanding of what a boundary is. And in order for us to do that, we have to go back to self-reflection, because we have to understand ourselves. So I believe these are the 3 facets in which we can connect with ourselves. And if you utilize them properly, you too can grow in connection with yourself and have more love for yourself and therefore more love for others. Thank you for tuning in today. If you like the content of this message, please like, share, and subscribe. As always, stay blessed and stay beautiful. Peace. If you're tired like I am of all the lame excuses people are giving themselves on how they can't change their life, then tap in with me. For the past decade, I've been studying the leading experts on personal development techniques, specifically mindset and habit. Why? Because I believe if you have a mindset shift and a habit shift, you have a life shift. And if you want to transform your life, tap in with the link below. I've created my own mindset course called Life Reimagined, my own personal development technique ebook called Beginning Your Journey Within. And if you grab my mindset course, I'll even give you the book for free. Use the code below and go to the link at hforlifecoach.com and watch as you transform your life starting now.